What's up, tribe? Thank you for being here and welcome to my channel. Today's post is titled Resentment, and I'm resenting my brother's puppy just a little bit right now because he won't stop barking in the background. But I hope you can hear me clearly nonetheless. Me. Today is Friday the 13th, one of those days that people consider unlucky. What's so special about this day? I am nothing. Only that it coexists like a collective code of bad luck. Me. What is luck? I am. I am. Luck comes from the word sortie, which means lot of land. That is, a plot to sow. In the division of lands in the Roman Empire, the draw or lottery was precisely to distribute lots of land for planting, and not all of them are good for crops, so everything depended on chance. In English, the term luck originates from galuki, from the Franco-German language meaning fortune. That is, the wealth that one could accumulate under lock and key, connected to the term lock closed. Me. And what does this term have to do with Friday the 13th? I am. This date is related to the Christian world. In the first place, according to Christian tradition, Jesus was crucified on a Friday, with which the weight of his death before sinners falls on Friday. On the other hand, what marked Friday the 13th as a tragic day was because precisely a day like today, but in October 1307, the last Templars were assassinated at the hands of Pope Clement V and King Philip IV of France. The situation was basically that the Crusader Knights during the Crusades in the Holy Land around the year 1100 discovered inside a temple the hidden secrets of the mystery of Jesus Christ that would change the vision of the church. Thus, they decided to create a secret brotherhood to protect this knowledge, and they called themselves the Knights of the Order of the Temple, that is, the Templars. All the roads of what was once the old Roman Empire were now frequented by these medieval knights, who ensured protection to travelers between east and west. Due to the instability of the region and the thieves who stalked the travelers, the Templars created an economic security system based on checks. The travelers, instead of taking their wealth with them, had papers authorized by the Templars for the value of their wealth that they could exchange for food and lodging, and even collect the value of their goods upon arrival at their destination. In other words, they created the first banks. They grew so economically because of this loan system that they had given loaned money to the King of France himself, the Vatican Kingdom, whose power at the time was based in Avignon, France. He felt threatened by the growing power of this group, and together with King, they decided to chase after them. They gathered them all together, and one Friday the 13th, they were publicly executed. Since then, the Templars are a legend. But what most popularized this fact was the curse of the Templar master Jacques de Molay, who years later, after being arrested in the memory of that fateful Friday the 13th, condemned the Pope and the King to die in less than a year and 13 generations more from them. Thus it was that the same year both the Pope and the King died. What was popularly taken as the curse of Friday the 13th related to heretics, witches, and many others who cursed the ecclesiastical and monarchical state. Me. So it was a tragic day, but it turned out to be a seed for the liberation of the people. So it could almost be a day of good omen for democracy, right? I am. Well, yes, all the traditions that many told today are born from a negative vision of the world on the part of the church and the monarchy. Me, the other day I read a comment that said that we are working for the satanic religion, and I knew all your expectations that the world from the devil because the atoms of life have a base of six particles. Our composition is 666, and that by worshipping matter and the earth, we are worshipping the devil, and that we work for religion, surely. He had never read so much incongruity together, saying that we are religious when his arguments used all the same discourses of Christianity. I am. It is a matter of habit. Europe had been Christian for approximately 1,700 years, which made the world Christian during colonialism. For 500 years, we could say that 80% of humanity has or had a Christian family or ancestor, and therefore comes from a Christian tradition or religious environment. This is not just something religious, because religious adapts to cultural and becomes tradition, like people who celebrate Christmas, Easter, and the three wise men, and don't believe in any of that. Me, we live in a futuristic world with medieval traditions. I am. It smells stale, doesn't it? Me, quite. I am. Does it bother you then? Me, well, I have to confess that yes, I am bothered by the hypocrisy of a humanity that criticizes using the same tools that criticize. Like what I said, being anti religious, but they believe in evil and the devil. Or talk about love and be one with all, but say that you have to eliminate religious or political leaders. Or those who seek harmony, freedom, and spirituality outside of religions, but blame them, make enemies of the same enemies of religion that they deny, such as Freemasonry, the Illuminati, the reptilians. I mean, I don't know. No matter how much we evolve in the forms, the essence is still the same. Everything still smells old. I am stale. Me, I do. I am. Do you know what word comes from stale? Me, which one? I am. Grudge. Me, and why is that? I am. Rancier comes from the word rancier, and it refers to smelling bad, something that is old, past, and that begins to generate an uncomfortable, rotten smell. Latino writers have coined the concept rancier to refer to an idea or circumstance that smells bad, that smells of the past, old and rotten. In English, the word resentment also comes from Latin. Resentment means to feel again, something that returns again and again to be perceived by the senses, something old that is felt again, in this case, as specified in Spanish through smell. Me, smell. What is this sense related to the third eye? I am. Let's analyze. What my eyes see and my ears hear have the same information center, the core of the brain, in the pineal and the pituitary glands. But there is a third one that goes directly to both glands, smell, the one that perceives the invisible. Remember that breathing, spiral, gives rise to the word spirit. Therefore, what the soul and spirit perceive is related to smell. This is how you call intuition, having a good nose, or when you sense something negative, you suggest this smells bad. Just as when a plan seems promising, you reply, it smells good to me. Smell is related to intuitive memory, and therefore, the best way to treat emotions that disturb the soul is through aromatherapy. When you get sick, you usually lose your sense of smell, and your lungs often fail. Me, as now with COVID 19, I am. That indicates that the system has stopped and has lost the spiritual connection, the ability to perceive, and needs to generate again. When you don't smell anything, your spirit has disconnected. You need strong smells to reawaken your sensory capacity and for your spirit to reignite in you. Now, when you only smell ugly things, your brain is reminding you that there are rotten things around you. You must clean the environment of negative energy. It could be said that many environments are full of energy rancor, which does not come from the human emotional plane, but from a vibrational density that must be transformed so that new airs flow better. Me. And what about the grudge that every human knows? I have two of my best friends who boast that their grudge is the greatest of their strengths, as well as their shortcomings. Why would it be a virtue, and why a defect? I am, as I said before, the center of the brain receives information from the words it hears and from the situation it sees, hearing, and vision. Every person you interact with in life will send you signals, electrical pulses, that will be registered by your brain, by the hypothalamus, in positive and negative signals. In this recording, the data is converted into magnetic pulses that affect the chakras and from them to the hormones of the glands. This translates words and situations into emotions and feelings within our body. In this way, the brain already has more tools to identify people or circumstances and know how to respond to similar situations. We have talked about this. It is to save time processing similar things. Thus, if a new different person awakens a similar emotion in me. That's why sometimes when we meet someone, we usually say, "It reminds me of such a person." I am, exactly. And you will even begin to compare to know if you should act in tune with what you feel or not. The mechanism that is activated to identify whether or not that is the same emotion is called smell. A keen nose will not only smell aromas but energies. The more emotional people have a great sense of smell because they have a greater number of internal registers. Thus, the sense of smell makes it possible to foresee situations before they happen. Reading, rather, smelling, in the environment, the similarities with the previous data. When what is going to happen tends to be negative, the smell awakens the old smells that warn the sympathetic system from the parasympathetic system that is necessary to react according to the third putrid smell, and thus the rancer is awakened. Me. Wow. I am. Grudge is the acuity of olfactory system inside your brain that is capable of identifying old, dirty, painful, annoying, and uncomfortable situations quickly, awakening the elephant memory, remembering each situation, the house, the what, the why, the who, the where, all the data to the fundamental questions. Grudge is a useful system to prevent similar situations, to be alert and defend oneself from external dangers. Me, but I am. There's always a but. There is Rancer as a method of prevention, and Rancer as a way of life. I'll put it in a simple vocabulary. Resentment is a prevention method. It's the same as having sex with a condom to take care of possible illnesses. The resentment is a way of life, is considering that having sex is what makes you sick, than dying a virgin. Me, clear the example. I figured it out. Me, so what you're trying to say is that people who live by resentment are always looking at everyone with suspicion and foul smelling face, refusing to make contact with new people. in case the same thing happens as before. It's like deciding exactly what you're saying, not having relationships of any kind with anyone else because you consider everyone a possible, smelly reflex. I am. On the other hand, the resentment used as a biological ability is the one that helps you not to trip over the same stone twice, to foresee situations, to be intuitive, but not closed to what will come. Me, I realize now that many of the people closest to me are very spiteful, but precisely because I don't have a grudge and I need them. Those people often tell me that sometimes it is even annoying to see that I do not learn the lessons and always fall back on the same thing in relationships with people. Sometimes I thought that not having a grudge, that having the natural ability to forgive, made me a bitter person. But it is precisely what always brought me the same problems. When I learned to listen to my resentful relatives, I was able to forgive, but respecting myself and taking care of myself, knowing how to set limits. This made me lose friends, but I realized something important that I gained freedom. Before, I lived for those friendships, and they hurt me just as I hurt them, forcing through forgiveness and gratitude a bond that had to be released in order to grow. If not for the resentment of those close, he would never have understood. But nevertheless, I know that many of these spiteful people are also very close to new opportunities and live in situations of the past. I am. Everything in the universe is a tool. If life gives you a hammer, you must learn to drive nails, not to hit others on the head. Me, of course. The problem is not the hammer, it is what I do with it. So, grudge is the Scorpio's smell, useful to work, the Piscean intuition, and live in a Cancerian security. But if I cling to the past, resentment will become my worst enemy, preventing me from moving forward and transforming myself. I am. Therefore, if life gives you lemons, me, make lemonade. I am. If life gives you grudges, me, make a good perfume.